You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Have you ever noticed how the person who cares the least usually has the most control? They don't panic when you pull away. They don't beg when things get tense. They don't explain. They don't chase. They don't break. And somehow, they always end up on top. Not because they're smarter, not because they're richer, not because life is unfair, but because they understand one brutal truth. The world doesn't reward the most emotional person. It rewards the most stable one. And stability in modern society looks like coldness. Let's be honest. People call you cold when you stop reacting the way they expect, when you stop giving them emotional access, when you stop offering your nervous system as entertainment. So here's the real question. Are emotionally cold people actually heartless? Or are they simply trained in something most people never learn? Because Machiavelli understood this long before social media, long before modern relationships, long before workplace politics. He knew that emotion is not just a feeling. Emotion is a weakness that can be exploited. And if you can't control your emotions, you can't control your life. That's why emotionally cold people win. Not in a movie villain way, in a real life way. They win arguments without arguing. They win respect without begging. They win power without shouting. They win because they don't hand their enemies the weapon of their own reaction. Now let's break down why cold people win and how you can adopt the useful parts of that mindset without becoming toxic or empty. First, emotionally cold people don't get baited. That's the whole game. Most people lose because they get baited into reacting. Someone disrespects them and they explode. Someone ignores them and they chase. Someone criticizes them and they defend themselves for an hour. Someone lies and they waste days trying to prove the truth. Cold people don't do that. They understand something that changes everything. The first person to lose control loses the position of power. Think about a typical argument. One person stays calm. The other starts raising their voice, talking faster, throwing insults, getting emotional. Who looks stronger? Who looks more credible? Who feels more dangerous? The calm one. And here's the part that hurts. The calm one might even be wrong, but they still win socially because humans follow certainty. Humans respect composure. Humans fear emotional independence. You've seen it in real life. A boss stays calm while an employee panics. The boss becomes the authority. A person stays quiet while others gossip. That person becomes mysterious. A partner stays detached during conflict. The other partner starts over-explaining, apologizing, begging, and suddenly the detached one has all the leverage. That's why coldness wins. It creates imbalance. It makes the emotional person feel unstable. It makes them feel like they're losing ground. And they start doing desperate things to regain control. Second, emotionally cold people don't seek closure. This is one of the most underrated psychological advantages on Earth. Most people need closure the way they need oxygen. They want the final conversation, the final apology, the final explanation. They want the other person to finally understand what they did. But cold people know something painful. Closure is often a trap. When you chase closure, you keep the door open for manipulation. You keep the conversation going. You keep negotiating your dignity. You keep giving access to someone who already showed you who they are. Cold people don't do long emotional meetings. They don't beg for explanations. They don't chase the why. They watch patterns. And patterns don't need closure. Patterns need distance. So instead of asking, "Why did you do this to me?" they ask, "Is this the kind of person I want in my life?" And once they answer that question, they move. Third, emotionally cold people don't confuse kindness with weakness. They can be polite, but they are not soft. They can be respectful, but they are not available. They can listen, but they don't absorb. A warm person often gives people unlimited chances because they believe in potential. Cold people don't fall in love with potential. They respect reality. If you disrespect them once, they notice. If you repeat it, they adjust. If you continue, they remove you. No drama, no speeches, no emotional chaos, just consequence. And that's why they win, because most people are addicted to comfort. They want to believe things will change. They want to believe the other person didn't mean it. They want to believe love will fix disrespect. Cold people understand. Love doesn't fix disrespect. Boundaries do. Fourth, emotionally cold people don't over-explain. And this is where most people lose power without realizing it. Over-explaining is basically begging for permission. It's saying, "Please understand me so you don't punish me." And manipulators love that. They love when you bring them your reasons, because now they can attack your reasons, negotiate your reasons, twist your reasons. Cold people don't offer a debate. They say, "No." They say, "I'm not doing that." They say, "That doesn't work for me." And then they stop talking. And silence after a boundary is a weapon, because it forces the other person to face reality without distractions. Fifth, emotionally cold people don't chase respect. They generate it. This is a harsh truth. The more you try to convince people to respect you, the less they do. You can't negotiate respect. You can only enforce it. Cold people don't say, "Please don't treat me like that." They say, "Don't." And if it continues, they leave. They don't stay in rooms where they're treated as entertainment. They don't stay in relationships where their value is questioned daily. They don't stay around people who only love them when they're useful. That's why they win. They don't build their identity on being chosen. They build it on being solid. And yes, it makes them look cold, because emotionally weak people call boundaries cold. They call self-respect arrogance. They call emotional control lack of feelings. But that's not what it is. It's discipline. Now here's the part that matters. Because you might be thinking, "Okay, so should I become cold? Should I stop caring? Should I detach from everyone?" No. The goal isn't to become heartless. The goal is to become unshakable. Cold people win when the world is chaotic because chaos feeds on reaction. And if you stop reacting, chaos starves. So how do you train that kind of calm power without turning into a robot? First, stop reacting immediately. Train the pause. When someone sends a message that triggers you, don't answer in 10 seconds. When someone insults you, don't respond with emotion. Give yourself space, not to play games, but to choose your response like a strategist. Second, practice emotional minimalism, not emotional suppression. Minimalism. That means you stop giving big emotions to small events. You stop making everything personal. You stop acting like every opinion is a threat. You start treating your attention like money. Spend it wisely. Third, learn the difference between being cold and being controlled. Some people are cold because they're scared to feel. That's not power. That's trauma. But some people are cold because they refuse to be manipulated. That is power. The difference is simple. The powerful cold person can still love deeply. They just don't beg. They can still care. They just don't collapse. Fourth, build a life where you don't need anyone's approval to breathe. Because when your life is empty, people become your oxygen. And if someone is your oxygen, they control you. But when your life is full, goals, routines, purpose, you stop clinging. You stop chasing. You stop negotiating your worth. Fifth, master the exit, the calm exit. The moment you realize someone is disrespectful, manipulative, inconsistent, or draining, you don't fight for their love. You don't try to fix them. You don't chase the version of them you imagined. You leave. And leaving without drama is the coldest, strongest thing you can do. Because drama is a request for attention. Silence is a statement of power. Now here's the final truth. Emotionally cold people don't always win because they're better human beings. They win because they understand the game most people refuse to see. Humans respect what they can't control. Humans chase what doesn't chase them. Humans fear what doesn't react. So if you want to win in the end, don't become cruel. Become calm. Don't become distant from everyone. Become distant from disrespect. Don't kill your emotions. Kill your impulsive reactions. Because the moment you stop being easy to trigger, you stop being easy to control. And when you become emotionally untouchable, you don't just win arguments. You win your life back.